Good morning. After several days the sun has come out and I thought let me stand in the sun for a little bit and respond to something that I heard from my mom yesterday. She got a feedback from somebody who had watched a few of my videos and then said, why does he laugh so much? That is somehow, if I understood her correctly, it didn't feel appropriate to her, or it wasn't fitting. So yeah, I sat with that a little bit and I thought, there's so many ways to respond to this. I have already actually responded many times in the sense of, if you watch a person like me, from your perspective, then what you expect to see, for you to say, yeah, what he says and what I'm seeing is a match, it makes sense, would have to be very, very different from what I'm showing. Now, I've chosen not to show you footage. I don't have much footage of me in very bad states, but there's, for example, a picture of me in 2019 where I weigh around 58 kilo and I look like I just escaped from a concentration camp. There's footage of me vomiting and puking. There's footage of me just bursting into tears, falling apart, sobbing, and all the rest of it. So until now I've chosen not to show all of this, because my question is like, what am I trying to express? What am I trying to prove by showing these things? I understand that by sharing whatever I'm sharing here, many things will not make sense. But even if I share pictures like that, it still won't make sense. So I'm very aware of the fact that I'm trying to communicate something that is not understandable. I'm using words to point at something which is not understandable unless you have the experience of it. And nonetheless, I engage in this mission impossible, in the hope of, to some extent, being able to bridge the gap between people like me who have gone through something like this and are still going through it, even though what I'm experiencing now is heaven compared to where I was. And that might also be the reason why I choose to use these videos to tune in, really, to make this a beautiful thing. Because for me it's an accountability tool, right? It's keeping me on track. Actually, the videos are giving me energy, they're not taking energy from me. And then the thing about bridging the gap for people between that are suffering from stuff like that and people who are reasonably healthy, that can only be an invitation. I can only point at it. But no matter how much footage I show, how much I were to tear up in front of the camera, I don't think it really makes any long-lasting effect or difference, let's say, for people. So unless you really want me to, I will not show that kind of stuff. If you feel that would be truly useful and helpful, well then why not? But otherwise, I'm not going to listen to this part that goes like, you know what, show them. Because there is a part of me that gets triggered is too much, but that says, why not? Why not show it if it makes them understand it better? Yeah, maybe I mean, there might be some smiles or some laughs that are out of nervousness, might be. But I think most of it I really, really keep my focus on anything positive that I can find, because positivity in a disease process that takes as long as mine, it's more than 9 years now. If I don't manage to focus on the good stuff, well, then I'm done. Yeah. So, and also another element is, and I'm sure you've seen people, it's so easy to derive a sense of identity from suffering, right? And to build an ego around, look, I'm the guy who suffers with this, and my suffering is worse than anyone else's, and then I have to defend that story and all the rest of it, right? So I think the more also we groove on that and really show that, well, in a way we reinforce it as well. Yeah, so that's what came up for me. I'd be very curious to hear from you how that lands, what you think about this. I'm planning to make a video also for people who are presently accompanying somebody who is chronically sick, because I think it takes a long time for both sides to really feel what's actually helpful, because I think in most cases there's so much overwhelm, there's so much misunderstanding as well, so much feeling of I should be worried, yeah, I should be suffering because the other one's suffering. But yeah, the basic message here up front is, when somebody is really in dire straits, when somebody is barely able to hold himself, the last thing he needs is another near and dear one, or close friend or whatever, who is emotionally falling apart, and is so worried, or feels that he should be worried, and all the rest of it, because that just adds an additional layer of suffering for the person who is afflicted. Yeah, the person who is afflicted is barely able to hold himself or herself, and now on top of it feels guilty for making other people suffer. That nobody in that situation can afford to do that. And how to navigate that is, that really is an important question, because otherwise it really often happens that when serious disease strikes, relationships fall apart, because the realities become so entirely different. And the only thing I think that can help is honesty, like real honesty. That might hurt, but there's a point where you just can't be dishonest anymore on any level. And in that sense, it's also a great invitation, and it's not only a curse, but it's also a blessing. I leave you this, and the sun's gone again. Have a beautiful day.